Edge is brought to you by Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual believes there's always a chance to come back and rise. Hi, I'm Julie Stewart-Binks, joined by Peter Schrager and, of course, Olympian Michelle Kwan. Tonight, USA wins bronze in the team figure skating event. We talked about this just the other day in that what they needed to do to win bronze, and that was that they had to skate flawlessly, essentially. Michelle, what were your takeaways from tonight's event?
Coming into the Olympic Games, a lot of people said the demise of U.S. figure skating. And you know what? They just had to look at Sunday to say, no, we're on the rise. When you have Jason Brown, who's 19 years old, skated to River Dance and just, lit the crowd on fire,
awesome.
right? It was so much fun. Then you have Meryl Davis and Charlie White, who just skated such a flawless performance, and Gracie Gold, who was just brilliant. It was clean, did her triple Lutz, triple toe combination, double axel, triple toe, and just as if it was like, no, I don't
big deal. She had no problem doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Demise, we're on the rise.
United States might have been the story for their bronze, but obviously this was a night about the Russians. What an amazing evening. You had the President Putin in the building, and a 15-year-old Yulia Lipnitskaya comes out there and blows the crowd away. And what was so cool, Evgeny Pashenko, her teammate, is 31. So you have the oldest person in the entire competition of the skating, 31 years old, and the youngest at 15. Their teammates, they bring gold to their home country in front of the audience, in front of the president. It's hard not to get caught up in that and just say, that's a really cool moment.
Definitely. The interesting thing, though, is that we watch these skaters in this event, and it gives you a taste of what you're going to see in the individual events. But there are a number of skaters that aren't competing in the team events, and you never know what they're going to do. Essentially, this almost gives you a bit of an unknown idea.
A little taste of what Yulia Lipnitskaya, as well as Gracie Gold, is capable of doing, and that scores. Let's talk about scores.
Right.
When Lipnitskaya got a 141, it was like, that could be, give Yuna Kim run for her money. Mao Asada wasn't competing on Sunday, so if she does two triple axels in her programs, will she be able to compete against Yulia? Definitely. And then you have Gracie Gold, who had the same jumps as Yulia, but because of her spins and her flexibility, it just. So
and on the men's side, Javier Fernandez. This is a guy who might blow everybody away in this, and we didn't see him at all in the team competition. And we talked about Yuna Kim from Korea. This is someone who won the gold in Vancouver, has only gotten better, and is now at the peak of her career. This is someone that no one's talking about this week because it's been all about the team competition. The second week comes along, and wait a second, this is the queen, and they have to beat her. So Lipnitskaya, great story, awesome, 15 years old, will be in the mix. I still think it's Yuna Kim is the favorite for gold.
It's interesting, though, because we talk about 15 years old and can't help but think about another 15-year-old, Tara Lipinski, who competed against in 1998. Did you see anything out there that maybe reminded you of her?
It completely. The way that even the setup of each jump reminded me very much of Tara. The way that she toe picks into the triple Lutz, into the triple toe combination, it does. There's some resemblance.
And Julie, so cool to see her. They're throwing out the bunnies. She grabs the baseball hat that says Russia, puts it on. She's adorable, 15 years old. And then afterwards, it's just sitting there like she's a 15-year-old girl. You forget that, though, when you see her so graceful on the ice, dominating the room. And the #1 star in that arena tonight was her. And she's 15 years old. It's truly amazing.
It's like a wind-up doll.
She's
like, da, 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 da. So
no
easy.
pressure at the Olympic stage.
And I was thinking
in front
about
of the president.
Yeah, no pressure at all. She was going to do this, and she was going to execute it. She went back into the kiss and cry with her team, and she was just like,
one of the team, and I love that.
Yeah,
that was cool.
One step farther.
Let's look at the ice dancers because, of course, the event was already a bronze medal for USA before Meryl Davis and Charlie White even got out there. Then they won their event tonight, and of course, it's always between them and the Canadians. What did you guys see tonight? Do you think that maybe they might have the upper edge against Tessa and Scott?
There's always this big rivalry between the Canadians and the Americans. And when you have Meryl Davis and Charlie White, silver medal in Vancouver in 2010, gold medalists Tessa Virtue and Scott Moore, and they share the same coach, same ice training facility, and the same goal of winning the Olympics. So it's pretty intense competition, but
I don't know if it's as tight as everyone says, though. Look, everyone talks about the tit for tat, they go back and forth. Charlie and Meryl haven't lost in 2 years now, so they are clearly better than the Canadians at this moment, and they won tonight by 7 points. It wasn't like it was this close margin, so we'll see, because like Charlie has told us, anything less than gold for these two in that event is a complete and
Is a
utter
loss.
failure.
Yeah.
So all this in the team event, that's great, that's cool. They need to go and now get the job done, and if they don't, it'll be a real big disappointment.
But isn't that what Scott said to you as well?
Yeah. Scott came to me.
Feisty competition.
Yeah, Scott came
Yeah,
right
they're
after the team
friends.
event, and he said, look, we're a week 2 country. Like Canada, we're ready for week 2. This week 1, this is all good and well, but week 2 is where we're going to shine. So I love that competition. I love
This
that
is
rivalry. It's so good for the
competition.
sport. Let's get it on.
That's great. Now, Jason Brown, of course, we talked about him being the wild card for this team, and it was maybe a good thing for him to be able to get out there tonight, shake off the nerves before the actual competition.
Well, for Jason, it was his debut on the world stage. He's never competed at the World Championships and went out there and just had fun. I mean, even when he fell, he was like getting up, and I was like, see, from the moment he got on, probably onto the plane to Sochi, he was all smiles, and he did a great performance.
He had a
2
good
triple
performance,
axels.
right? But
Yeah.
there's a cap for him, right? You don't see him blowing it out of the water. You don't see him competing with those guys in 1 through 3. So
It's a quadruple.
it's a quadruple. So for me, if I'm watching that, it's a nice second player on the team. Jeremy Abbott has to perform. He's the guy.
Yes.
Jason Brown's a nice complementary player, but he's not going to compete for a medal this week.
Well, the good thing is we get to talk about all of these skaters all over again once they start their individual competition. So thanks very much for talking tonight, guys.
Thank you.
This Inside Edge is brought to you by Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual believes there's always a chance to come back and rise.